this thing again. Let's say, get rid of this fraps. Okay. So now we have all of our essential packages that we need. Okay. Except for one. I want to go back and get the screen. And it ain't no dependency nightmare. That's not really something to be worried about. And it should take no time at all. So let's go. And why screen? Screen is great. We can copy and paste. We can do all that other good stuff. We can split windows and tasks and do everything that we're doing here. Screen's just a good utility to have around. Okay? Okay. So let's say, where am I at? I want to go to my toots. Let's go to LFS, CDLFS. Let's see, temp maybe? No. Let's go into desktop. No. Screw that up. LFS docs. Yeah, here we are. Okay, so let's go into CD into to new LFS. And I'm going to say links back up into book BLFS. We want to open up index HTML. Okay, and we can hit / and we'll say let's search for screen. There it is. Okay, get that. No dependencies. Let's say Control A, Control X. Screen optional. We don't need it. It's optional. Let's say download. 44 not found. Okay. Let's try the FTP. New exit document. Okay. Control A. Do I have internet connectivity? Yes. Screen 403. Let's go get it. Link start. We'll go right to my favorite site. FTP. OSU OSL Labs. OSL. Oregon University Open Source Labs. Alright, CLFS. Let's keep going down. Screen. It won't be in here. Website. Won't be in there. Snag it from Slackware. Screen 403. 64. 64. Let's go to Files, List. We'll search for screen. And for next line, screen 403. There it is. Okay. But that's what do you call it? App AP. It's a TXZ file, which actually isn't too much of a problem. We can deal with that. So let's say screen. And Slackware. I know I already did this. And we'll say AP is a new thing. Source AP. We'll just go down to screen. Screen. Slack build. There it is. Screen 403. Tarpy Z. That's what we need. Take it. Got it. Good. Okay. Now we can exit that. That's all we really needed from there. We'll move screen into, let's see, where is my seeking a desktop? Move this. Move screen back up into desktop. No. LFS docs to new LFS. Alright, that's cool. Cool. Super. Alright, so that's done. We have that. We have everything else we need. We don't really need to go get any more packages right now. So let's say quit. Clear. And now let's say Control A, Shift S. Let's get to the meat. Okay. Alright, so these are all the packages that we have. Good. We're not going to install any of them in this tutorial. But in this tutorial, I am going to create a new user. Because like I said before, running around as root is no problem when you know what you're doing. Okay? And that's okay. But sometimes it may limit what you can do if you decide to add a user. Okay? And some programs require a user. Okay? And some programs don't run so well straight as root. Okay? So with that in mind, it would be good to have a user. Even if we don't use the user, it would be good to have a user. Okay? And a lot of these packages, when we're installing them, you'll see int book. I'll show you this real quick. LFS index. A lot of these packages, when you're installing them, per se, something like not Vim or Vi or anything. When you're installing them, you will see it will require you to then switch over to root. Okay, and you can't switch over to root if you were never root. Control X. Okay. I don't have any GPM. GPM. Super so unprepared. Mouser. Great. So unprepared. There we go. Okay, you will see even as down here. Okay. You'll see here we run this as something. Okay. Make, and then over here as root we run make it install. Okay. So if we download this package, in which we can, you know, run straight root on it, that's fine. I've experienced no errors with that, but it would limit future possibilities. Okay. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Okay. So that type of syntax really wasn't present when we were building LFS. Alright? It really wasn't there when we were building LFS. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to run into. How we had to usually it's a make, and then before you make install you had to run it as root or something like that. Okay? On pretty much all of the packages that we're going to download. So stop talking and let's get to the stuff. So how do we create a new user? We can go into the BLFS book and read how to do it there, right? But I'll give you a heads up, and it's not that much different, but we can just use our book that we started with to do that, right? We just have to repeat a few steps. That is all that we have to do. Repeat a few steps from our installation process. So let's say links, and we'll say LFS book HTML. Okay. Hope you have yours around. If you don't have yours around, go get it, find it, do whatever. I'm going to use this for a second. Okay. So let's scroll down to let's scroll down to creating partition, patches, all that stuff like that. Go right down here to adding the LFS user. Actually, I am lying to you. First things first. We have LFS somewhere. Alright? We have an LFS somewhere. It's not mounted. We need to mount it. We need to bind. We need to mount our device folders, proc folder, everything else like that. We should do that before we even consider going ahead to add this user. Okay? And it's no biggie at all. Just repeat a few steps from your LFS installation. I'm not installing anything, but you know what I'm saying. Just in that procedure, we're good to go. First thing we need to do is we're going to find Control A, Control X. We're going to find part in this script here, or in this document, adding the LFS user. We'll come back to that. We have to skip over that for right now. And we have to go to preparing virtual kernel file system. Okay? That'll show us exactly what we have to mount and how to mount it. Okay? Because if you remember, we mounted all these things here. And actually all these things is only about 4. Okay? 5 actually. Okay? But this is the order that we had to mount all these. Okay? Now off the top of your head, it's not too intuitive to come up with this. Okay? So going back to the book, it's kind of way to go. So we'll say Control A, Control A, Control A, Control Shift S, Control A, Control Tab, Control A, Control C. Okay. And let's go ahead and we'll start this. We'll say sudo su. We need to be root to mount anything. Okay. First things first. Remember way back in the day, we had a variable. Okay. And that variable was our LFS variable. It's back. It's our good friend. So we'll say export LFS to mount, and I'm going to say SDA8. That's my mount point. Okay? You want to export your variable to a mount point. SDA8 is my mount point. Okay? So that's what you want to do. And see if that variable stuck. Okay? It did stick. Okay? Now let's mount verbose type ext3 our device or LFS partition, which mine happens to be on SDA8. Okay, I want to mount that to my LFS mount. Good. Okay, so that's mounted. Now Control Tab. It says begin by creating directories and blah blah blah. No, we already have directories. We don't need that. Okay. Device nodes. We don't need device nodes. That's all done. Okay. We're only going to take a few snippets out of this, okay, to get us to where we got to go. Mounting populate dev? No. But we do need to. Here's where we start. We need to mount and bind dev. Okay, so we'll say mount, verbose, bind our device folder to our LFS device folder. Good. Okay. Use the verbose switch in case if something failed. I think you will get output, but if something fails and you don't get output, that could be a problem. You won't know you're mounted. Okay. And we'll say mount verbose type. We're going to mount our dev PTS. We're going to mount that to $. lfs/dev pts. Pause and check it. Dev pts, dev pts, dev pts. Good. Okay. Now, let's say mount. I'm gonna say proc. Mount proc. Type proc to proc. $LFS proc. Good. And let's say mount verbose or sysfs. Mount that to $LFS sys. Good. And okay, we say this gives a little heads up about what's going on. We can skip over that. And this is just a if else, okay? If that doesn't take our commands, then we need to make a directory and do all that stuff. Well, we don't need to make any directories because we already have them, right? But we just, only thing we need to do is just mount this tempfs, okay? So let's say mount verbose type. By the way, that's the same as that, okay? So don't fret. Mount tempfs shared memory $LFS dev shared memory. Is that good? Good. Good. Alright. So let's say clear. Let's say dfh. Okay. And we can see that we are mounted. We have all our mounts there. You can check them over if you want, but I think we're okay. Cool. Alright. Now, everything's mounted. Only thing left is the ch root. Okay? Control X. Now, if you recall back when we did our LFS, when we had the ch root, there's a few times where we had the ch root. Actually, I think it's about 3. Okay? There was one time in the very beginning, then we built. And after we built, we exited, stripped it off, and we came back in, okay, with more privileges, okay? So the only specification for that is we have to actually find the correct ch root that we came in with, okay? But there was one ch root throughout the build process at the very end, when it said whenever you re-enter the environment, use this from now on, okay? Remember, it wasn't in the very beginning, it was more towards the very end, okay? Stripping, changing ownership, that was like at the midpoint of the LFS, okay? But all the way down here, we had stripping again, okay? If you see here, before performing the strip, take special care, blah blah blah. Remember, we had the stripper LFS, okay? So it was good for us to log out first and then re-enter it, okay? But remember this tools bin bash, the tools directory, okay? Well, now we're in our system, we don't need all that anymore. So we're just going to go up right here where it says from now on, when entering the ch root environment, after exiting, use the modified ch root command. And that means from now on. Alright? Now on is even way after you installed your LFS. So this below command is the type of ch root that we're going to perform to actually get into our LFS now that we have mounted on our drive. So let's say Control A, Shift S. Okay. Good thing I didn't do what I thought I did. I had a lot of windows open here, and I was root somewhere else. Everything was mounted with a variable stuck, and I didn't want to lose that variable. When I created a new window, I went back down to being an unprivileged user. didn't want to mess with that, so not a problem, not a problem. We'll just go ahead up here and we'll go back into our book from here. As long as you got the root, as long as you're root, you're cool. Okay. What I did was I had too many windows open, and like this one got covered up. This is the one I need to stay with. Okay. So if you didn't do that, don't worry about it. CD into desktop. CD back up into LFS docs. Clear. Say links. LFS book. Scroll down to all the way down, all the way down, all the way down to section right before section 7. Setting up bootstrips right before that, cleaning up. Okay. At section 6.65 says cleaning up. From now on, we'll re-enter the SageRoot environment after exiting using the following modified SageRoot command. And this is the one we're going to take. Okay. Squirrel rat. Get the right one. Let's go. So we'll say less. We'll say echo $LFS, our variable stuff. chroot. Encapsulate $LFS. User bin environment variables. I'm going to say home equals root term equals encapsulate $term. I'm going to say our PS1 var is going to equal U stop W escape $space new line. Check that out. We'll say home equals root, term equals $term, PS1 var is equal to U stop escape W escape $new line. Good. Path is going to equal bin stop user bin. Okay. I'm going to say sbin stop user sbin. Okay. And we'll just pause and check and make sure that everything lines up. That looks good. Big M over to B. Big M over to B. Cool. New line. Okay. And we'll say bin bash login. Login. Okay. Good deal. Now we are logged in as our LFS user. Not our LFS user. Jeez. Into our LFS system. Okay. And from there, we're good. We're now mount and binded it. Say DFH. Okay. Mount and bound. Good to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump back up and we'll go up here to creating the LFS user. Okay. And which we did in the installation process, but that was actually just a temporary user. This one's going to be a more permanent user. Okay. And the syntax goes like, I'm going to say group add. Group add. What do we want to name our group that we're going to add our user? I don't want to name it LFS. All right. I'm just going to use Douglas. Okay. That's the group. Okay. So group add Douglas. See a little pause there. That was good. Now we want to say user add. With bin bash capabilities to groups. What group? Douglas, the one we just made. Okay. And we want to make, okay, a dev null folder. Okay. We want to make a home directory. Okay, that's what the M is for. And a dev null to our user we just created, who was Douglas. Okay, that's good. Okay, you can read this here. It says Espen bash. This makes bash default shell for the user, Douglas. Alright. G gives the this option adds user whatever your username is to group whatever your username is. Whatever your group name is. Alright. M creates a home directory for whatever your username is. kdev null parameter prevents possible copying of files from the skeleton directory. Default skel by changing the input location. Okay. And LFS is the actual name of the user, or whatever you decide the username is. Okay. So that's done. We have a user. Let's give him a password. Password Douglas. Okay. Enter your password. Okay. Minimum of 5 characters. That's what we should do. Even if you have to double it. That's what we'll do. Okay. Good. Now that's done. Now we don't need to chown anything, change mod, nothing. We're actually done with this. Okay. And from here, let's say clear. Let's log in as our new user. Say login. Doug login. Let's say I want to log in as Douglas. Password. What's that? Okay. Cool deal. No mail. And we say who am I? Douglas. Okay. Now from here, we don't have sudo, right? We don't have sudo installed, right? But we can still say su. And if you add who am I, you type in the password for the root for the root user of not an elevated user, not elevated as far as like the user we just created, but with our LFS when we had our root user. Okay, you can still if you remember that password, which I hope you do, you can still type in, you can become sudo this way also. Okay? Okay. So, it says, who am I? I'm root. Okay? I am root. So, that's cool. We're as sudo right now. Say exit. Who am I? Doug. Okay? Now, if you ever did mess that up, which is possible, and I've messed it up a few times, I can show you real quick on how to fix that. You'll have to fix that as sudo. And let's say cd into etc. Okay? What we essentially did was, when we added the group and it went into this folder here, or into this configuration file here. Okay, group. So if we go and we say, cat group, I'll pipe it into less. I should clear that first. We go in here. You can see here, our new user that we added is down here with a group ID of 1000. Okay. If you messed that up in any which way, if you meant to say you wanted your username, Bob Hope, and instead you typed in LFS and you want to change that, I'd recommend that you get rid of LFS or whatever that name is you wanted to change. Whatever name you blooped up on will most likely end up down here. Okay, as 1000. Okay, this is one area where you'd have to edit it, okay? And another area that exists in would be in G-Shadow, I think, should be one. Yes. Okay. If you ever wanted to remove this user, you would have to do this. You would have to remove it from here, remove it from group, okay? And let's say G-Shadow, and we have hosts. I don't think host is one. No, it's not. Let's say one more would be in password. Actually, no, there's two more. You can say cat password. Okay. He would be here. Okay. You can remove the user. You have to take him out of here too. I think there's altogether there's like 4 different points that you can remove him from. Or you can hit user del or user remove or whatever it is like that. I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to come back in here and take it out of all separate, each one of these 4 files here to take care of that. And shadow, I think it would be another. Yeah. Okay. You can see that this exists right here. Okay. So that's how you can delete a user that way, also, right? And you would also have to delete them from the home folder, okay? Because he has his own home folder. Okay, so if you screwed up, or if you ever want to change that, or even if you added, say, 3 users, and one goes away, or, you know, then just, you can delete it that way. Or you can look it up how to do remove user and stuff like that. Alright, cool. Cool. So now I'm going to de-elevate my privileges. Who am I? Douglas. You will see too that you'll notice here when I'm not elevated, I have a little dash right there. Alright? My PS1 variable, I didn't change it yet to say root or anything else like that, okay? So you'll notice a little dash right there, and if I say Sue, oh, I had the wrong password. If I say Sue, you'll notice that dash disappears, okay? So, unless you have a PS1 variable, it can get kind of tricky and confusing. Well, not so much either, because I have a pound sign here and I have a dollar sign up there. It's still a little confusing, okay? So, remember who you are. Remember who you are as you're moving and grooving, okay? Because it's very, very possible and very easy to get tripped up on that. Alright, so that's cool. And now I'm de-elevated. I want to go up to Etsy, actually up to new sources, okay? And these are the new sources. In the previous tutorial I had, in a previous tutorial I did, I don't know if you might have did it or not, but I set up a little change font script, okay? And forgive my, what do you call it? There you go, my cord. Before I got here, it's back, okay? Set up a little change font script to change the font, okay? And this is the remnants of that. That's up there. So what? Oh my God! What the hell's going on here? Daggone chords wrapping like a viper, Python. .py. But here's the leftovers from my script. Okay. Now I have all this stuff. This is just a tarball. All right. You might want to save it if you did something similar like this. Save all your tarballs to some folder somewhere, anywhere. Okay. Just to have them, so you don't have to go looking for everything. Every time you do something. I have this saved already, so I'm going to delete this. I'm actually going to delete everything in this folder. Okay. Now it says here, I can't delete this. I don't have permissions to do that. It's not a problem. So, and I just say remove all. Okay. Now, my new sources is empty. That's how I want it, because now I'm going to move over all these packages that I downloaded in the previous tutorial. I'm going to move it over here. So right now, I'm going to CD back up, okay, and I want to say, I want to change, or let me see, I want to change the ownership, recursive verbose, to Douglas, or whatever your username is, new sources, okay. That's going to change the file. The directory is now rateable by Doug, okay. And if I say exit, I go down as elevated unprivileged user, cd into new sources, okay. Now I can make a directory within here, okay. Make directory this, okay. Before I couldn't do that because I didn't have any permissions right to this, the higher directory, which is new sources. So let's say remove this, okay. And we'll say Control A, Control Shift S, Control Control Tab, Control A, Control C, and I want to go to where I downloaded all my packages, which would be where LFS docs, and I'm going to cd into two new LFS, so my packages, copy, cursor verbose all, I copy that to mount SDA 8 new sources. Now you notice here I didn't say LFS because it's not set for this user. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean exit. Okay. And here's all our packages. Alright. LSL, yeah, Seach. What's out here? You see here Douglas owns them all. And that is cool. Alright. So here we are. All our packages are here in our LFS system. We have our user. We're getting ready to build. Alright. So that's what we'll do in the next tutorial. We'll start assembling. I don't know where I'll start. I might start with some of the, well, I need net tools will probably be number one, wireless tools, and then we might dive into some WPA supplicant, and some of the other stuff can just hold. Oh, DHCP is definitely one of them. We'll have to add that too. Okay, so cool. Thanks for watching. Hope you had as much fun as I. What the hell's going on? Hope you had as much fun as I did, and I can exit this now. Alright. Peace out, guys.